listening to The Tom Daniel Show, and I'm your host, Tom Daniel. I want to start today's show with a quote by one of my favorite singer-songwriters, Bonnie Raitt. She said, "I'm not a virtuoso player, and I'm not getting any better, but I know how to do what I do." And I was going to say that, but she beat me to it. I mean, that is exactly me as a guitarist. I am not a virtuoso guitarist, but I know how to do what I do. Hello, my name is Tom, and I'm a guitar addict. You better believe I have a problem with guitar. I'm fluent with that problem. Now, in this episode of the Tom Daniel Show, I want to talk about my addiction to guitars and how I got started, and try to explain my surprising fascination and connection to really crappy guitars. Musicians have a bond with their instrument, and that's intensely personal and deep. And maybe this discussion can open a pathway for you to understand more about your own passions in life. But most importantly, don't ever ask me for advice about a guitar unless you want to end up owning a new guitar. Now, recently, I was having lunch with a friend who showed me a photo that he'd taken of the dumpster at his apartment complex, and there was a guitar case perched on top of the pile. He joked that he'd found a new guitar case for me, but the only thing I could think about was whether or not there was actually a guitar inside that case. If so, it had to be awful and in terrible shape, but man, I wanted to play it so badly. It was almost a primal how that guitar was calling to me. I mean, I know. It wasn't a Martin or a Gibson or a Fender, and so, who am I kidding, right? Yet, later that afternoon, I drove around to the back of that apartment complex, and I couldn't stop thinking about that guitar. But it was already gone. Probably for the best, right? Yeah. Okay, yeah, probably. Yeah, that's what I keep telling myself. Gone. For the best. Yeah. Guitar will always be my main instrument, and that's the instrument that my musical brain thinks in. Most musicians discover that they've got natural abilities in numerous instruments. My experience with guitar easily transfers very well to the bass guitar, to the banjo, to the mandolin, to the dulcimer, to the ukulele, to the violin, etc., because stringed instruments are pretty much basically the same. Now, when I was in college, I once had a professor bring a bouzouki to class, which is a Greek folk stringed instrument, and I immediately just picked it up and started playing it to her total astonishment, even though I'd never even heard of that thing until that day. I mean, the basics of all stringed instruments are universal, and it only took me a few seconds to get oriented. Now, the professor raved for years about how I amazingly just picked it up and started playing it, but there's really nothing amazing about it. I mean, it was a string instrument. I know how it works. Saxophone players are pretty much the same way. I mean, all saxophones, soprano, alto, tenor, baritone, have all got the same basic fingering system, and once you adjust your embouchure, and that's how you place your mouth to the instrument, then you can easily swap back and forth between them. Flute players easily adapt to the oboe for the exact same reason. I've tried to learn as many instruments as I could get my hands on, but most of them didn't work out very well. I mean, I can't get more than an annoying screech out of a clarinet no matter what I do. And the French horn might as well be from another planet as far as I'm concerned. And somebody once told me that I played percussion like a cat in a litter box. I still don't know exactly what that means, other than it means my percussion days were over. But in addition to the guitar, I also play the flute and piano pretty well. For some unknown reason, I am a natural at the flute. I don't know why, but I clicked on that instrument the first time I tried it. I knew it instantly, and I got good at it. I also studied formally on the piano for several years, and I'm still mostly functional. I mean, I'm not going to be giving any recitals on the piano anytime soon, but I can play. And in the mid-'60s, my brother got a guitar because starting in early 1964, everybody wanted to be a Beatle. Even though I was really young at that time, I was aware that something significant was happening when the Beatles appeared on Ed Sullivan. And it happened to me, too. A fire was lit. I borrowed my brother's guitar, against his knowledge, and taught myself how to play it a little bit. It's breathtaking how something external can ignite such a lifelong passion straight out of the blue like that. I mean, for you listening, was there a specific band or a specific song that flipped a switch in you? Now, when I was in the 6th grade, our middle school offered a little mini-term guitar course, beginning guitar, and it was taught by one of Auburn University's student teachers. I signed up for it, and my grandmother bought me the guitar to use, my very first guitar. I started learning the real way to play guitar in that little class, and I've been living with that infection in my system ever since. I just couldn't put the thing down. There's a song that says I played until my fingers bled, and I know what that means many, many, many times. And when I wasn't playing guitar, I was thinking about playing guitar. Obsession is not even close to the right word. I will always know who I am thanks to that guitar. Does that make you think about your first passions? I mean, that feeling of being completely consumed without being bogged down with anxieties and trying to figure out how to make a living out of it. I mean, I've been playing guitar for over 50 years, and it's as if the thing is an extension of my arms and hands. One of the things that still amazes me about guitars is that I still prefer crappy guitars. I mean, I can't explain it, but it's almost counterintuitive. How does that work? I mean, I'm a lifelong musician who's got highly trained and discriminating ears, but I like the sound of crappy guitars. I mean, that's the central puzzle here. I don't know. I can't explain it. I mean, if I were standing in a guitar shop right now, I would ignore all the high-priced virtuoso craftsmanship guitars and head straight for the most beat-up, monstrous-looking thing in the whole display. I'd pick it up, start playing, and my eyes would just roll back in my head. Now, I've thought about this a lot. I don't believe it's Charlie Brown Christmas tree syndrome. I mean, I don't pity the crappy guitar. I'm not like trying to rescue the underdog. For some inexplicable and illogical reason, I really, really like the way crappy guitars sound. I mean, it's a raw and untamed and heartbroken sound that they have. The action is always too high. That means the strings are too high above the fingerboard. The wood doesn't sing. The bass notes don't ring and resonate. But oh, mama, I love that sound. It's uncivilized. It's dangerous. It's haunted. There's an old saying about how scars are tattoos with better stories, and I feel the same way about crappy guitars. They've got so many better stories to tell than the fancy ones. I value character and imperfection. But it's not an either-or thing. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not psychotic. I do appreciate the sound of a high-end guitar, as I actually own 3 of them myself. I wouldn't be a guitar player if I didn't tell you what I've got. So I have a Martin D35, a Telecaster copy G&L, and a bass G&L. I love to play those instruments because they're mine and because they fit me. But what I'm saying is that pretty much everybody else I know that plays guitar moved on from the crappy guitar stage decades ago, and I didn't. There's just a special place in my heart and in my ear for the less refined guitars. The wood vibrates differently. The tone is uneven and delicious. All those low-quality, tiny imperfections provide something that's been kind of bred out of the high-end instruments. The character of those guitars is baked into the flaws. Think about record albums. When I was a kid, all music was played on albums and singles, and the sound of all those pops, crackles, hisses, that was just part of the sonic landscape. I just went with it. Then we got digital, and all those imperfections went away. But it wasn't long at all before most of us started to realize we missed all those pops, crackles, and hisses. They added a warmth and a depth and a resonance to the sound that the perfect, sterile, digital sound could never provide. And look at what's making a comeback now. Record albums. You know what else is making a comeback? The second half of this episode. You're listening to The Tom Daniels Show. We'll be right back.
What are you waiting for? The Tom Daniels Show. What are you waiting for? The Tom Daniels Show. What are you
And welcome back to the Tom Daniel Show. And of course, Mary Mac is the world's most perfect band. And we were talking about my engulfing obsession with guitars and my guilty attraction to crappy guitars. Imagine seeing one of those TV chefs like Gordon Ramsay or something eating a Big Mac. Yeah, same thing. In my office at work, I've got a really cheap $30 classical guitar leaning against the wall, and I play it every single day. I mean, it feels so good to just grab that awful thing and lose myself for a few minutes. It's so strikingly different from the whole gear acquisition culture that dominates the guitar world. I mean, right now, I could name probably 20 guitar players that would all love to talk about the newest guitar they've bought, the newest amp, the newest pedals, etc. And they've all got these mystical strings of numbers and letters. You know, I've got a G423 PKM with a custom Z19R38 attached. Doesn't everybody? Well, most of the time I have absolutely no idea what they're talking about since I don't keep up with equipment anymore. But I still nod my head and pretend. And in truth, nothing they play for me sounds any better to my ears than my little $30 office guitar. I mean, it's probably a bad idea for me to admit that publicly, but it really is the truth. And by the way, there's a thing hanging in my office. I'm looking at it right now. It's a little sign that I printed that contains a direct quote from one of my most beloved professors, Dr. Billy Tamblyn. It says, "As a musician grows, their ears become more tolerant to imperfections, not less. The ones who complain are the ones who are trying to overcompensate for their own deficiencies." Yeah, burn, baby, burn. There's a weird subculture of people out there who believe they're obligated to be the designated complainer about everything. Now, if they can just be that one person who points out the obvious flaw that everybody missed, well, we'll all see how smart they are. Well, no. All we see is what a big old wet blanket pain in the butt they are, but maturity isn't about being hypercritical, but more about being accepting and appreciative of the roughness. Now, recently my wife and I went to a local arts festival and stopped for a while at the little stage to hear some live music. They have a band come up, play for a few songs, and then swap out with another band. It was that kind of a thing. And we heard this band of 4 youngsters. They were in their 20s and 30s, and they spent a solid 20 minutes on the sound check. 20 minutes. Check 1, check 1, check 1, check 2, check 1, check 2, check, 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 check 1. Hey, Brian, can you turn up the mid on Larry's mic? Check, check. This EQ is all out of whack. Is it even grounded? Check 1, check, check. I'm still hearing a slight ring. Check, check, check. Gosh, 20 minutes of that. Then they played their set. And they finished, and they were followed on stage by 4 old geezers just like me who just walked up, counted off, and started playing. I mean, no sound check. You want to guess which band sounded way better? Yeah, it was the old guys, the ones who did not do the sound check. I mean, I'm the same way. I rarely do sound checks anymore when I play because they really don't help all that much. They, just plug in and play. And if you're any good, you'll sound good. And if things are off, you'll hear it and you'll adjust it. Are there areas in your life where maybe you over-prepare like that? I mean, where focusing too much on getting everything just right actually gets in the way of what you're trying to do? Now, what matters more, the process or the outcome? Now, my lack of musical snobbery probably cost me fame and fortune, but it did gift me a lifetime of unspeakable wealth in other ways. When I was younger, my friends were over-obsessed with musical pedigrees and name recognition. I mean, they were always seeking to play up the musical ladder. And they would shun anyone like me that, didn't have a Grammy nomination, an extensive tour repertoire, a producer with a pedigree. I've always frequently heard conversations that went something like this. Next weekend I'll be playing with blah blah, who has 7 Grammy nominations. He toured with Elvis and produced an album by Joe Walsh. I got that gig while hanging around a coffee pot at the fundraiser in the Playboy Mansion while talking to Paul McCartney. What are you doing these days, Tom? Well, I'll probably just be jamming with a couple of friends on the porch. The looks of pity I get when I say that are absolutely marvelous because I'm the one who's wealthy. Playing music with real people is vastly more rewarding than playing music with legends and icons. Playing music with real people is creative, improvisational, energetic, dangerous, and is a lot more fun than you can possibly imagine. Playing music with real people grooves because the music takes over. I mean, people speed up, they slow down, somebody's behind the beat, somebody's a little ahead of the beat. It creates a big, fat, juicy tension like trying to squeeze a grapefruit through a keyhole. They change colors with the instruments when they change keys. And most importantly, they listen to each other. They allow the music to become a conversation instead of a soliloquy. On the other hand, with legends and icons, you get mechanics and you get perfection. And y'all, that ain't music. That's a spreadsheet. Music is always a performance art, and it don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing. By the way, how do you get a guitar player to stop playing? You put sheet music in front of him. Ha ha ha. I once attended a master class in guitar in New Orleans, facilitated by a world-famous guitarist who shall remain nameless for this podcast. But I walked out when he sneered at my improper hand and wrist positions. He called on me to extemporaneously play something for the class and then mocked my technique to the class. I packed up and left. Not another word. I mean, really, who cares about the look of technique if it sounds good, which it did? Isn't that all that matters in music? Perfect technique and high-end equipment will never be a replacement for skill and passion. Never. All I need are 6 strings. I mean, it doesn't even have to be 6. To tell the truth, I'd play if one's broken and it's only got 5. I need frets, I need a wooden body, and I'm captivated. Miraculously, I don't collect guitars because I'd definitely be the crazy cat lady of guitars if I did. No, I don't want to own them. I just want to play them. If that guitar case had still been on that trash pile behind that apartment complex, I would have opened it. I'd have played some blues, Beatles, Led Zeppelin, Allman Brothers, and then I'd have put it back. In the guitar world, I'm a peasant. After a whole lifetime of playing, that's how I see myself. But at least I'm a happy peasant, focused on the playing and not the status. What's the crappy guitar in your life? What imperfect thing or unconventional approach in your own life is your guilty little pleasure that gives you a unique kind of joy? Value is subjective, especially the idea of finding beauty or worth in things that get overlooked and dismissed by others. Do you ever struggle with that potential conflict of doing things by the book and just focusing on genuine expression? Would that unlock something really meaningful for you if you could just ignore what everybody else thought? Thank you, everybody. This has been the Tom Daniels Show. Keep listening. Keep learning.
Keep listening, keep learning. The Tom Daniels Show. Keep listening, keep learning. The Tom Daniels Show. Take a break from your usual routine and tune into the Tom Daniels Show. You'll discover the world of melodies and stories that you might not know. Keep listening, keep learning. The Tom Daniels Show.